Hello, hello. It is a Friday. It's in April. And if you're a teacher, then you know this is like interview season. If you're not a teacher, it might be interview season. So I wanted to share 3 tips when it comes to finding a new job and things like that. If you've seen some of my previous videos, this is my 23rd year teaching. And over the course of 23 years, I've worked at least 10 different schools because I really do not believe in job stress. So I wanted to share a couple tips. If I'm sniffing, I'm so sorry. My allergies are kicking my butt. I've been trying to remember to take like a spoonful of raw unfiltered honey because that really helps. But anyway, first one, resume. Do not go back more than 10 years. Now, if you're like me and you're almost 50 and you've been in the workforce for like a couple decades, nobody needs to know that, because I believe age discrimination is real. And I think that there's this, misunderstanding that the older you are, the less you know about technology or the more resistant you are to learning new things. And that is so not true. So whenever I'm interviewing for a new job and I am updating my resume, I only go back 10 years because I think 10 is a nice number. Like, it'll show you have enough experience in that area, but then it won't necessarily make you look like you're like 40, 50, 60. So I would say go back 10 years. The other thing is, do not put the dates on when you graduated from college. Nobody needs to know you came out in, 1992, 1985. Keep that off. Just list the college and list the degree, but leave the dates off. The second thing is, I know in at least the world of education, we have job fairs. You do want to make an investment when it comes to that, and not so much in necessarily going out and spending a bunch of money on suits and stuff. But I would say the 2 things that I think have really helped me is, one, have multiple copies of your resume. I would say at least 20, maybe even 25, because of those, you might get called for maybe 5 interviews, maybe 10. So be prepared to give out about 20, 25 resumes. The other thing is, you want to look professional, but you want to show you're a little creative. So don't put your resume on that plain white paper. Like, I used to use this gray paper that had like little sparkles on it, and it had like a different texture. And in addition to that, I would use, those like page protector, almost like presentation file things. I would use those. I'm going to find a picture of it and then insert it probably like right here, so you can see what I'm talking about. That can be a little pricey, but think about it. If you get a job offer that's paying money, that $25, $30 you spend on that will be well worth it. The other thing I would say is, so have your resume first, and then behind that, put your philosophy of education. Just share like, what are your views about education? And then if you really want to be fancy, now I have not done this, but I totally would if I was out there interviewing right now, is I would include a QR code. I would have like a 3rd page that said all about me. And then I'd have a QR code, and it would either be a video of me speaking or like a slideshow that just literally is like all about me. So it might show my hometown, maybe like my hobbies, my favorite TV show, my favorite band, or just something to help me stand out. Then the 3rd thing is, now you got your resume, you've handed them out at, job fairs, and now you actually get called for an interview. Be honest. Be honest in your interview. And what I mean by that is, share with the administrative team who's interviewing you, whether that's principals or assistant principals or literacy coaches or math coaches, academic coaches, I guess in general. Be honest. And what I mean by that is, if you're someone like me who loves the classroom, like absolutely loves the classroom, and you don't have any aspirations outside of the classroom, say that in the interview. I love the classroom. I can't see myself doing anything else but being a teacher for 100 years. You don't have to exaggerate to that degree, but definitely be honest. And the reason why is because you want to make sure that you're a right fit for that school. I know you need a job, but teaching is hard. So even if, all the ducks line up in a row, it's still going to be rough. So you want to kind of make sure you land in a place that's going to be conducive to who you would like to be. If you have administrative goals, say that. Say, I really can see myself teaching maybe 5-10 years. And then after that, I'd like to be an assistant principal, or I'd like to work in the district office in this particular area, or I'd like to be a principal, or I have big dreams. One day I want to be a superintendent, whatever it is, tell them, because there are principals who, they really pride themselves on like growing leaders. And if you land out of school who the principal prides him or herself on growing leaders, and you want to sit in the classroom for the next 20 years, that's not really the best match. And I'm speaking from experience, because I have found myself at schools where I felt pressured to like be in leadership stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. And so I feel like, be honest. And if you're honest, then when the pressure does come, you can say, well, remember when you hired me, I said that, I really wasn't interested in doing things outside the classroom. Or flip side of that, if there are, teacher leader opportunities that come around and you want to be considered, you can remind, your administrator, hey, remember in the interview, I was telling you, that, some of my goals were to move into administration eventually. I see this opportunity. Is it possible I could do that? So be honest. And the other reason you want to be honest is because principals know their climate, they know their culture, and they know where they're trying to go and what they're trying to get rid of. And so you can be honest, and then the principal and the rest of the administration can decide, hey, I think this person will be a good fit, or I don't. So for instance, at this point, now granted, I have been teaching for a minute. I am brutally honest. I mean, like super duper honest. So when I got my current job, which is the high school teacher, part-time high school English teacher, I was very honest in my Zoom interview. I told them, I am not a team player. Let me repeat, I am not a team player. So if you are looking for a teacher who is passionate about growing the capacity of the teachers around her, it's not me. I am professional. I will share resources. But what I am not interested in is growing the capacity of the people around me. I am not. And I said that in the interview. And I said, but what I am passionate about is helping kids become better readers, helping them get excited about their learning, and hopefully helping them develop some skills that will help them be productive global citizens of the world. Yeah, I said that. And you know what? When they hired me, they knew exactly who they were getting. They were getting somebody who is a professional, but I have no desire to grow teachers' capacity. And I am 110% there for the kids. And I have delivered. 2 years in, I love the kids love me. The adults tolerate me, I tolerate them. And I think you need to be honest, because if you're someone who you want to grow the capacity of teachers and that's where your passion lies, then say that, because there's a plethora of opportunities, y'all. If that's really your passion, there is always a teacher who needs some help or some assistance with like lesson plans or technology or resources. And while I absolutely love making resources and finding resources and being creative with my students, selfishly, that's really why I'm doing it. Like I'm not doing it, to kind of help everybody else. And I know that sounds mean, but at this age, I just accept myself. I know I just want to be there for the children. And I think it helps. Does it make my job a little harder? Because, you can kind of tell that adults really just are like, oh, I can't stand her or her attitude. I can't believe she'd say she's not a team player, but look, I was honest, you know what you're getting. But if you need help with a student or you need some strategies on how to connect with kids, ask me, I will share. I love that kind of stuff. And so be honest, just tell the people who are interviewing you what you do well and what you don't do well. Your career goals, where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years? Be honest. Now, this is a bonus tip because I've been in the game for a little bit, y'all. Here's some dog whistles. When you get to the end of the interview and they say, do you have any questions? You sure do. And the one question that you always ask is, why is this position open? Now, there's a dog whistle. Here's the dog whistle. If they say, oh, this position is open because the teacher wanted to be closer to home, that is a dog whistle and you need to run, because guess what? Nobody leaves a job because they want to be closer to home. You know why? Because they knew how far or how close the job was when they took it. So nobody, very few people are really leaving for that reason. So if an administrator tells you the position is open because the person before you wanted to be closer to home, that's a red flag. Another red flag is double-digit turnover. And how you can tell this is, at least in my county, they have like a job wall, almost like a portal. So you can filter it and you can do jobs by location. So before you accept a job at a place, I strongly urge you to do this. And actually, even when you're interviewing, or you're kind of listing who you want to, the schools you want to go to. So yeah, let me rewind because I left that out for the job fair. When you go to the job fair, already have like 5 places that you really would want to work and make sure you connect with them. And one of the things you're going to look at is how many openings does that school have. So fast forward back to at the end of the interview. Pay attention to how many openings they have, because if they're in double digits, that's a lot of people leaving. And if you have a lot of people leaving, that means they are leaving the administration, period. People do not leave schools in droves because of the children. They do not leave because of the parents. They leave because of the administration. So if you're at a school that has 10 positions open, I don't care how bad you need a job, don't go work there. Do not go work there, because it is an absolute mess. Because any school that has that many people leaving, if you have 1 or 2 people leaving, even 5, not that big of a deal, depending on how big the school is. But if you have double-digit turnover, that is a red flag that something is going on with the administration. And sometimes it's not necessarily all a bad thing, because sometimes when schools get new principals, they're coming in with their own vision, their own ideas. And sometimes that just doesn't connect with, the staff, and people have the option to leave. So that one wouldn't be quite as much of a red flag. It might just be a yellow flag. Because if you're coming into a school where the principal is new in the previous year, they just got there and now they're having all these people leave. The good thing for you is if the principal is offering you a job, then he or she feel like you fit into their vision. And so you probably won't have any problems. But if the principal has been there 5, 6, 7 years and they have double-digit turnover every year, that's a problem. I don't care how nice the administration seems in the interview. No, do not fall for it. Do not fall for it. Trust me. All right. So as a quick recap, 1, on your resume, only go back 10 years. Now, if you don't have 10 years, then you don't have to worry about it. But if you have 10 years, only go back 10 years. The second one, make your resume stand out. So put it in like one of those little like presentation folder things, put it on some cool paper. Now, when I say cool, it's still professional. So, don't bust out with like some pink glitter paper or some paper that has a crazy border and that has like skulls or puppies, or that's not what I mean. Still keep it professional. Remember to include your philosophy of education. And then if you really want to get fancy, go ahead and put a QR code that's kind of like an all about you type thing. And then last but not least, in the interview, always ask, why is this position open? And you can ask it in a very nice way. But just ask, why is this position open? And also, before you accept a job with anyone, go ahead and check and see how many openings there are. And if you can't figure it out, you could even casually ask about it in the interview, because you could say, oh, I'm so glad you called me to interview for this particular position. Do you have, how many other positions do you have open this year? And just ask it casually. And I don't know, I've never asked that, honestly, y'all. So I don't know if the administration would be honest or not, but you could try, or better yet, I would say just look on the county's website, and hopefully when they're posting the job listings, you can just filter it by location. You could kind of see, because if it's double digits, don't do it. And last but not least, remember that dog whistle. If they say the position is open because the person wants to move closer to home, don't do it. Do not do it. All right. Well, I hope you found it helpful. As always, be grateful. And until later, bye-bye.